Hi, it's Intuitive One here. I am a spiritual guide supporting those on their spiritual journey and awakenings. Today we'll be talking about the experience of a Kundalini awakening. And what is a Kundalini awakening? What is Kundalini? Kundalini is the feminine, creative, evolutionary force of infinite wisdom that lives inside of each and every one of us. And this energy, this divine feminine energy, is located at the base of our spine. Kundalini lives in our subtle body, along with the chakras and nadis. The subtle body contains our energetic imprints, our mind and patterns of energies, and any emotional blocks. It's where the samskaras exist, which are the mental and emotional patterns that drive our lives. What is a Kundalini awakening? Now, I'll tell you what this awakening is, and then I'll go into some personal experience I've had during my awakening a little bit later. Kundalini awakening is a purification process. Shakti, which is the divine feminine energy at the base of our spine, wakes up. It's a process of reuniting of our sense of self with the divine. The point of this awakening is to journey back to God. It is the surrender of the ego self to the divine. The point is self-realization. In reality, Kundalini awakening is only the beginning of the journey. I personally do not recommend forcing a Kundalini awakening as it can be intense and very difficult to navigate. Once Kundalini awakens, real life will never be the same. Now I'll dive into some of my personal experiences with having a Kundalini awakening. We'll start off first with physical symptoms. So, one of the biggest symptoms I began to have was gut issues. It was almost like I had IBS, which is interesting because when I was a child, I had IBS and then I healed it actually through chiropractic treatments. And so, yes, I just had major gut issues. I was very sensitive to food. Like anything I'd eat would just put my stomach in so much pain and just digestive issues, right? I later kind of have been finding out now after being sober, becoming sober, right? My body was also rejecting alcohol because it was time for me to step into my role as a spiritual guide. The next symptom I experienced was this shooting pain going through both of my forearms, and it was excruciating pain. Like it just felt like sharp pain shooting in my forearms, literally like the electricity, like when electricity strikes, right? Some people say it was one of the most painful physical experiences I've ever had. I remember going into the doctor at least like 3 times. I know it was multiple times, and they could not find anything physical going on with me. What was even stranger is I even saw this reel this guy posted on Facebook, and it was like God letting me know that I was okay physically because he was literally talking about don't be going to no doctor right now. You're fine. They're not going to find anything physically wrong with you. It was just, I don't even remember what, like, I choose to remember what that video was about because at this right now I don't remember what it was about. It just literally told me that. So that pain was actually the Kundalini energy shooting into my up through my arms. Now we're going to talk about the serpent. So the serpent feeling was exactly like a snake for me. So, for example, I was working one day during this awakening I had, and I literally felt like something would slither inside of my skin, like in my leg or something. I remember that really freaked me out, especially when I'm like working on a client. Um, so I used to be a lash artist, and that was intense. It just felt like something was like slithering in my skin. That's literally the best way I can describe it to you. It didn't hurt. It just felt like movement in my body. It just felt like a snake moving in my body. That's I cannot put that into words, really. So now we're going to talk about shaking. So the shaking symptom literally felt like I was having like mini seizures while I was awake. I remember laying in bed at night and my body temperature would drop completely cold and I would literally like convulse like this. Like I thought I was having like seizures or something. Like I thought I was dying. I remember I landed in the hospital that night thinking I was dying, and they just told me it was my anxiety. So that just shows you it really was energy. And supposedly, like the energy when you're shaking like that during this awakening, it's all of the negative energy being moved out of your body. I've heard somewhere. I just remember where. At one point during this journey, I literally thought I was starting to develop like psychosis or like schizophrenia or something because the veil like really thinned at one point during this shift I went through. I remember I so what would happen is my heart would start to race. Like I felt like I would just get like so much anxiety and then my heart would start to pound and I'm like, what the heck, you know? And I remember like laying in bed, it was actually this tapestry in my old apartment and I was looking at something on here. It's not a face. It wasn't like the sun's face or anything. I was looking at like the corner or something on this tapestry and it literally was like morphing into a face on the wall. I thought I was going crazy. Not even that, I was having, well, so the veil has always been naturally thin for me as because I'm a medium. Like I was born with those abilities. I recently had to make like an agreement with the other side, like appointment only, because y'all be invasive. Anyways, so during like these episodes, I felt like I was underwater too. It was extremely interesting. I'm curious to know if anyone here has had those kind of experiences. If you have, just comment, like let me know. So, sweaty palms was another symptom. It just felt like I would get extreme heat in the center of my palms and they would just sweat. But what's weird about that is I felt like I was like detoxing from something like energetically. So, that was interesting. Blurry vision, heart palpitations. I actually have an experience of that during this as well. I went and got a heart monitor and I put it on my chest for about a week when things were really beginning to shift during this process in my life. And it's because I thought I was having heart problems because my heart just, I still get it. And I believe the Kundalini energy is still working in my life, like to this day. And it's been like a year now since I was activated. And temperature change, like getting very cold or very hot. And it's usually like an extreme temperature shift. So now we're going to talk about mental symptoms. So we're going to talk about psychic guidance beginning to show up. So I feel my connection to my guides and God really strengthened during this time. I found myself connecting more to the animal kingdom, which is the spiritual realm of our lovely animals on this planet and on the other side as guides for us in this lifetime. Another mental symptom I experienced was I had a lot of extreme highs and a lot of extreme lows. It felt like a roller coaster, quite literally. So experiencing a lot of bliss and a lot of pain, like almost intertwined. Then I remember I began to awaken to why I am really here on this planet. And that's when things really began to change in my life. Another really strange, I guess, mental symptom would be it's like both, like physical and mental, I suppose, is I was under attack quite heavily. When I say attack, I will do my best to explain what I mean by this. So for me, it would come through other people or just entities. It doesn't matter if it was just in any form that someone could reach me to try and harm me, pretty much. I'm not sure why this was strengthened during my awakening. If any of you know, drop a comment and let me know, because I'm very interested in knowing why that is. As a light worker, naturally, we're going to be attacked by darker forces. That is just the unfortunate reality of being a light worker on Earth. So these attacks are usually physical or emotional. It just seemed like entities coming through other people were trying to harm me a lot more at this time, even kill me and just do extreme emotional damage. The most interesting part I feel of this whole experience was the dream I had before awakening, having a Kundalini awakening. So my Kundalini awakening wasn't my first spiritual awakening I had. My first spiritual awakening was in, I believe, around 2017 or 2017 to 2019, I believe. So I had this dream a few months before kind of starting to realize what was going on. Um, and I remember this dream was I met the serpent in my dream. The serpent came to me. It was a snake, like a big snake. And it was in this huge mansion. I was just, I don't know, I don't remember all of the dream now, but I remember the snake came and it attacked me. Like, it didn't attack me, but it bit me really hard, like right on my hip, and it felt extremely real. Like, it felt like I was there. And I know those are premonitions I have, because whenever I'm astral traveling on the other, in the dream realm or wherever the freak that is, whenever I have a premonition, it feels like it is another reality. Like, it feels like this, but like obviously more like in a dream, but like reality in a dream. That's the best way I can describe that. If you would like some tools to cope with this process, and if it's been an long ongoing process for you, you can book an spiritual response therapy session with me at my website in the description below. And also, you can check out this free website in the description below for tools to help you manage your symptoms and just tools to help you through this process. I hope this video helped someone out there, and I hope it resonated with someone out there. And much love. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Peace.